Okay, so hello there. This is kind of my anniversary video because today marks the first. Let me start again. Exactly 1 year ago on this day I made my first video, so I thought I would make a new one. And just sharing and talking what's on my mind. So yeah, maybe I can just start off with just noticing what has changed during this year, and I was just thinking about it before I came outside to record this, and that is a lot. My general situation has not changed that much. I'm still living in the same place and working in the same place. I have still kind of going to school still, but just my feeling and kind of point of view about this situation, and especially about where I'm heading in life, has changed a lot. And what I mean with that specifically is that, well, more and more I just kind of trust this life and trust myself more, and just it has, I don't know if it has always been a kind of knowing, or is it just developed to a knowing about just kind of the nature of this life and existence that I and everybody else is experiencing. And what we are experiencing is just something incomprehensible. Right now I'm just seeing the very clear night star sky, and that alone just brings such a great sense of wonder in me that I just can't but just enjoy and be in the amazement of it. And that's how I feel about life in general. At least I try to most of the time. And it is also for me just kind of accepting this reality. Yes. Also because earlier I just finally got myself kind of a computer again. I have not even started it yet, but I was just kind of reading reviews about it, and one review I was reading was not so good, and even that kind of got me feeling like, I don't know, bad down just a little bit. And then I came outside, I made some food and came outside, and again I see that that was just very well, not doing me any good, and it is a good computer and yada yada. That's not so big deal. I finally decided that I can use computer responsibly again, at least I hope. Yeah, because technology and internet especially can just kind of swallow you into it, and at least for me, I just forget everything that's going around me in real life and just get sucked into it. Not to say that it is not helpful and good, but I just got to be more careful with it. It is such a contrast to nature, because in here it's so different. It's so like peaceful and quiet, because when you are browsing the web, there's million things going on all the time, like people's opinions and just the interface. You can click anything and interact with everything, and if you play games like I have liked to play all my life, you got immersed in the world. And I remember when I was younger, I was playing a lot of World of Warcraft, and at that time I really didn't see how it just sucked me into the world of it, and I was just living in, I was dreaming about it, and at the worst times, all I could do was think about it and what I wanna do in the World of Warcraft and what kind of items I want to get, and I don't see it as a bad thing now, and at that time it was really enjoyable because it was such a good game. I was like, I don't know, 15, 13, 15, 16, I don't even remember. I played it for a long time. And yeah, don't know how I got into that. So yeah, I was making my anniversary video. Yeah. And also what I was thinking earlier was, well, I'm changing the subject, but I don't mind and hope you don't either. I was thinking about talking mushrooms again, because in the first video I was talking about mushrooms. Yeah, I remember, well, I have watched the video many times. I talk about a trip that changed my life. And after that trip, I have taken mushrooms 2 times. The second time I took them, I made the before mushrooms video. But before that, I took them also, and I never made a video about that, and I just barely mentioned it anywhere. But that trip was even more life-changing for me than the first one. I think the first one was just, and I'm just talking about my experience, but yeah, the first one was just kind of a glimpse to what I now consider the first one was kind of a glimpse that I now it showed me what I now consider is reality. Let's put it that way. And the second time I got to get like fully immersed into that mushroom enhanced reality, which for me was a place, and the feeling about that place is still persistent in my life. It was a place, it is a place, it is like this world for me where anything is possible. And during that trip, well, I can kind of try to describe it, because, well, I have only described kind of what happened to one person, and it was like maybe half a year ago. And I don't know, I was just not ready to talk about it even then. And right only now, almost a year after the trip, I'm kind of ready to explain what happened to me. Because like maybe more than half a year, I was just thinking about it daily. It just came up every day, that what was that and what happened and how I should, like, what I should think about it and how I should act after that, and because it was just so life-changing for me. And yeah, so yeah, I took the mushrooms. It was Psilocybe lanceata. I had picked them myself. It was like little over 4 grams. No, it wasn't even that. It was little less than 4 grams, if I remember correctly. And I started by sitting in my apartment, just in like cross-legged sitting and just breathing, just going into it. I had been doing it like that maybe a few times before, and yeah, it started to come up and I was breathing, and every time I have taken them, there's like the first hour when there's not really any effect from the mushroom. I usually go through very intense emotions, and yeah, it was like that this time also. And then I remember I started like kind of wishing love and sending love to everybody, my brother and sister and father and mother, and just breathing and just feeling this amazing love that I was harnessing and sending. And but sometime after that I just started to get this feeling of something like maybe insignificance of anything, and just it's hard to describe, but kind of this, I don't know, insignificance could be a good word for it. And I stood up and started like walking and was like, no, 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 yeah, like this is not good, and or something like that. And I ended up like laying on my bed and just trying to breathe and get over it, and it just kept coming stronger, and I was at that point still resisting it a lot, and I was just literally at one point it got very strong, and I was thinking that what if this doesn't go away, and that got me to really like a bad place, and I just really felt that I could just turn upside down at any moment, and what if my parents find me like this, just because I was starting to feel like I couldn't even move. I was just paralyzed in my bed and thinking all these things that could happen to me, and that happened for a long time. At least it felt for a long time, and I just went deeper into it, and I was just kind of, I couldn't move. I was just seeing through my eyes and thinking that this is it. And I cannot emphasize that it was a long time I felt like this. I just remember saying, this is it. Se oli tässä nyt. In Finnish. After that, I don't know. I don't know if I released myself into it, or it just got so strong that I kind of forgot like that part. After that, I don't remember for a little while, and then I remember, the next thing I remember is me on my bed and kind of feeling this, I don't know what was it. I can just a little bit about here about Terence McKenna's idea of machine elves and the mushroom that speaks to you. That could be a metaphor for it, because it was speaking to me, I feel like, and at that point I pissed in my pants, literally. I was just such in awe of it. And yeah, that happened, and I was just laying there, and I know I was having a conversation with it, but I cannot remember what was said anymore. And that lasted for, I don't know, some time. And then I just kind of got this, I don't know, realization and feeling that, like, this is it. I remember thinking about 2012, and I remember thinking that, like, this is it, and it happened. That 2012 happened or something like that, just because that was only reference point I had for anything like that, because I was still in my room seeing everything as it was, but just the feeling of it was that anything was possible, and I jumped out of my bed and I started at that point, I don't know if the mushroom, the entity, it took form of like people in my life, and I was talking to different people in my life, just walking around my apartment, and I'm not sure if I talked aloud or in my head, but I was definitely talking with some things, and there was many, and they took the form of people I knew. I was not like seeing them, but they were more like like mental constructs or something, and it happened, and I was all this time thinking I could do anything, and I ripped the curtain off my window and just got rid of my clothes, and I had this vaporizer. I kind of stepped on it and threw the water glass on the ground, and it was, I don't know, such an empowering feeling. And at that point I had no concept of me, like there was no me anymore, no Antto anymore. It was just this infinite being, that I could become anything, I could do anything if I just believed enough, and I knew that it would take some time to me to break through all the barriers, and I started trying to do that, and I was just thinking that I'm not even dead yet, and I could die, and I imagined myself dying, and thing would happen really, and stuff like that a lot. And yeah, there was different kind of things like that a lot. And I forgot to kind of mention before I got up out of the bed, or maybe, well, I can't even remember right now. It was before I got out of the bed. Yeah, it was before I got out of bed that I kind of realized that I got these flashes, images of things and places. Like one was I was with my friend on top of some mountain, and other was I was with my other friend, like playing with these Warhammer figures, and there was few others I can't remember. It was just these flashes of these places and these happenings that, I don't know, some of them had happened and some of them were just, well, I can, because it's very interesting, because the flash of the, like the mountain with my friend became true, because we went with my friend to, we kind of took this interrailing trip with a train to Europe, and we went to Austria, and we went on top of one of mountain. We didn't walk but with ski lift, and it was with the same friend, and it was some time after that trip, and I remember I was going into the mountain, I was thinking about the trip and thinking that it's happening now, that what I saw, and just kind of, that was just kind of detail that I find interesting. And yeah, finally I just found myself naked in my apartment when it started to wear off, and after that I don't know what, well, I don't know what that sounds like when I explain it, but to me it was very personal and very strong experience. And even though in my first video I say that the trip changed my life, this trip that I just now described changed my life like 1,000 times more, I feel like. I don't know if I'm what word is it, exaggerating or something? Exaggerating. I don't know. So yeah, that was the story of that trip, and I still think about it. Maybe not day anymore, but because I'm finally starting to feel like that I'm maybe integrating it and starting to learn from it more. Because after that trip I took one more trip. I just had to I was feeling like I should, I was feeling like I could get more answers when I took them again, but that turned out to be wrong. Nothing that special happened on that trip. Most of my trips I have just kind of like I just kind of go into this state and I don't even remember most of what has happened. And at the end of the trip I called my sister. A really interesting and great talk. But I haven't even discussed that talk with her after that, really. And I have decided that I will not take mushrooms again until I have integrated all these things that I feel like I have learned from them, from it, whatever. And I'm not sure if it's relevant, but since I'm trying to tell everything, there was, when I was just in the state in the mushroom trip, I had some DMT I had bought, but I had not smoked it yet, because I didn't have anything to smoke it with. And I just, in the state in the mushroom state of mind, I was thinking that if this is it, like if this is true what I'm experiencing, I can just take this DMT, and if nothing happens, that is proof for me. And I just kind of opened my drawer and I just sniffed it. It was like pure, like it was yellow, but it was DMT. And I just inhaled it into my nostrils, and I could feel like the crystals absorbing in my nose. And I'm not sure if DMT is supposed to work like that, but I didn't feel much difference after that, and I kind of got, well, that took the trip to a different direction. And yeah, it was intense, I can tell you. And it is very, I have not told this to anyone but one person, and not in this much detail, and I kind of feel very irresponsible even to tell this kind of thing and do, because I always have respected like the mushroom and thought that it's very sacred and all that, and then I end up doing things that I have just described, and I don't know, it just for a long time at least was very uncomfortable to tell me, but to tell about this. But yeah. So yeah, I have decided that I will not take them before I feel like I have integrated everything, and more and more I am. At least the, well, couple of weeks, I don't know. It's every day, it's more and more. I feel like I am becoming more. I'm becoming like just bettering myself in every way, and I don't know, people react to me differently, I feel like, because I am acting differently from a year ago, and it is in a very positive way. I am stronger physically and mentally and in all kinds of way. I don't judge myself nearly that much anymore, and I have gained so much like self-love and all these things, and just the appreciation and the mystery and everything is just such a learning experience, and I meet just randomly like very interesting and great people, and I'm not rich, but I get everything I want, and with very little money. I don't even know how it happens, and like, I mean, I make a little bit money, but and I don't waste much money. I buy only the things I really want, and if I need something big about like the computer, I asked my parents for some money and they agreed, and I don't know, I just always feel like I have everything I need, even though it's still every day kind of struggle, even though it has been getting better, and I'm worrying about money, of course, and about future still, but I'm just kind of developing this different kind of view of this world, and it's working for me personally, and I can give a lot of credit to the mushrooms for it, but the real work, I feel like, has to be done by yourself, and I feel like you don't need the mushroom for it, but for me it has been and it will be in the future a teacher. And I never thought I would use this kind of language, but I am, and it just shows for me that change is possible, and I am positive that a year from this I will be thinking very differently about this life. I think I know that there's always gonna be this underlying knowing, because that has been the same for me. It's just my reaction and my actions and my thinking and my everything that has changed. And it has been a long talk. I just kind of want to also talk about where this world is going in broader, like with society and people in it and all this, and the nature and everything, where we are going, where this is heading, because I see that a lot of people are just fed up with the way things are, and I'm not ready to like start working on some bullshit firm and do that kind of thing with my life. I feel like we all have some kind of purpose, mission, whatever that we are supposed to do, and I don't know what that is for me, but just living as I have lived lately, and that has been exercising, reading, studying, going to nature, being good to people, and trying to be like I don't want, well, just trying to be the best me that I can be. I kind of forgot I was about the world, where we are going. So yeah, that kind of change is happening, and I'm seeing it more and more, and I'm very well, I'm excited to see where this life will take me and every one of us. And yeah, with that I could say to you good night, because I will be going to sleep soon. I just go back to my apartment. So yeah, anyway, good night, yes.